Thank you for tuning in to the Shikama Live Show with your host, Shikama. So, the question is, or one of the hot debates rolling around the political spectrum is, are voter ID laws racist? First of all, let me say that's a very good use of the word racist. It's the only time that it really applies. A law can be racist. An individual person cannot be racist. So, you've heard me say this time and again that racism is a group effort against another group. And they do it by laws or a common practice, which has the effect of a law anyway. So, now, of course, my immediate answer is going to be there is no way that requiring an ID can be termed racist. As a part of being an American citizen in the United States, you are required to have an ID for various things, including walking. A lot of municipalities require by law that you have ID on you at all times. So, if you're required to have an ID just to walk down the street, obviously requiring the same ID to go vote and exercise your civic duty cannot be racist by definition. Racism by definition would be something that would specifically target, or in practice target, black people versus not targeting white people. Requiring an ID just requires an ID for all races and all groups. Now there's people who say, well, most black people are poor and they don't have ID. Okay, first of all, that's a lie. That's ridiculous. And that statement is bigoted. Remember, get your words, I'm an English stickler, get your words correct. That is a bigoted statement. And the main people making that statement are Democrats. Let me tell you voter laws that were racist. Requiring, after Jim Crow, after the KKK, which were Democrats, after slavery, where it was a law by pain of death, that you could not teach a black person to read, write, nor really even speak English, and require them to do this in order to vote. That was a racist voter law. Requiring an ID, not racist. Now there's people who say, well, what you see is the Republicans have instituted this to keep black people from voting. Let me say this first of all. First of all, a majority of the state governments are Democrat. Nearly all of the municipalities, that's the cities, are Democrat. So, if we have a problem with voter ID laws, we should put it at the feet of the people who really are instituting this, and that is Democrats. Democrats don't need black people to vote for them anymore. They take advantage of black people. They take it for granted that black people are going to vote Democrat. And for them to say that Republicans are trying to thwart black people from voting because black people vote mainly Democrat, it would be the first time in U.S. history that a political party has actually targeted black people in terms of their voting habits. The reality is that there is a growing population of black people who are turning to voting independent, libertarian, and Republican. And that is a growing and growing and growing. Now we have groups and groups and groups of black people forming groups for conservatism. Black people by nature are actually conservative. Now, of course, a lot of you are going to say, what are you talking about? Black people are conservative. Black people are poor, which of course is another bigoted statement. A majority of black people are not poor. A majority of black people are middle class, just like the majority of white people are middle class, just like the majority of Hispanic people are middle class, just like the majority of Asians are middle class. A majority of black people are middle class and are actually conservative. And of course, the richer you get in the black population, the more staunchly conservative you get. You cannot be a rich black person and be a Democrat. It's almost an impossibility. Why? Because the rich you get in the black population, the far more educated you get. Why? Because for black people, education does equal money. For everybody else, it doesn't quite equal money because everybody else has the freedom to do other things. Black people have to be twice as educated, twice as good, twice as skilled than any other group in the population. So when you get to rich black people, more often than not, you're going to have a engineer or a PhD, a lawyer or something like that, and they are conservative. So the growing population of blacks who are turning to conservatism, if you're talking about thwarting the vote, it's going to be for them and not for the people voting Democrat. Nobody cares that black people vote Democrat, and nobody cares. The Democrats don't care that black people vote Democrat. Obama doesn't care that black people vote Democrat. All he did was put out two horribly bigoted advertisements talking about Obama's got your back. Do you have his back? Vote for him again for president. I mean, how much more insulting can you get than that? He didn't even take the time to say, I stand for this, I stand for that, blah, 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 blah. No, you're black, you're going to vote for me because I'm black. Peace. It's insulting. Anybody who voted for Obama the second term really needs to have their head cut off, and or why don't we just ship you to the Middle East, because actually they sort of act the way that you all want, right? You all want a sort of like fascist, communist, socialist type of state. In the Middle East, that's what they have, exactly, completely, almost 100%. They take care of you. If you live in one of the richer oil states, they send you a paycheck for free just because you live there. How do you like that? Sounds good, doesn't it? They do the same thing in Alaska, but Alaska doesn't have socialism and communism and so forth. So go to the Middle East and you'll be happy. You don't have to tear this country apart because you were told something. Please educate yourself. Voter ID laws are not racist. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show.